like to connect, and giving people a reason to connect and talking about something that is not related necessarily to you.
Let's go to that point where you were a founder, right? Like you weren't even a founder yet, right? Like you were just a dude that moved over there and you had to find a way in. You told me that you starting a blog was kind of like what got you in the door. Tell me about those days when you first moved to Denmark and you're just trying to blaze a path. How'd you get the content?
Yeah, the content came off necessity because I was moving to Denmark. You know, in Brazil, you have a network. It's like you in Florida and the US, you know people, right? And then you have to go to the Nordics. I was like, Jesus, I'm screwed. I mean, what am I going to do here? So I started this blog called Denmark, Brazil. I remember I got drunk one day arriving from university, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I created this blog, and I saw this website, I think from the UK, where they were talking about careers. So they would interview, someone, and that person would talk about a career in finance. And I said, well, maybe my blog, I could do something like that to talk about the business environment in Brazil. And I'm going to interview my friends. And I had a bunch of friends who were, at the C-level in different sectors in Brazil. So that was how I started. So I had a terrible camera. I would visit my friends and I said, hey, dude, you got to help me out here because I don't know what I'm going to do in Denmark. And so that's how basically I started. And I arrived in Denmark. I was looking for a job, sent over 300 job applications. All of them were denied. And then I was telling you just before this call, people were saying, oh, you don't have a Danish education, all of that. And then I realized that, well, maybe if I approach the same people that I'm sending emails and they're saying, no, we don't have a job position here for you, blah, blah, blah. The reason why I'm in Denmark is because I married a Danish woman. I worked for the Danish government, as an intern there. So my job at the Danish government, at the Danish Trade Council, as they call it, was to help Danish companies enter Brazil. So prior to moving to Denmark, I thought that my only skill was to help companies enter Brazil. So that was it. I didn't know much more. And so, I created that blog. I was sending all these emails. People were saying that they didn't have a job position for me. Then I realized that maybe I should add all of these decision makers on LinkedIn. But instead of saying, hey, I tried to, I send you an email and I asked for a job and there was nothing, maybe I should just approach them and say, hey, my name is Carlos. I create content about Brazil for the Danish community. This is the blog, and I would love if you could give me your honest feedback on the content that I create there. And doing that, I realized, well, personalizing your message is really important. Again, going deep instead of just blasting people, with random messages or just saying, hey, I'd like to connect, and you don't even show any interest. But and giving people a reason to connect and talking about something that is not related necessarily to you.
What I find significant about the story, the stuff that I want to tease out as lessons is, one, you don't need to be an expert in something in order to make content about something. You just need to be able to talk to people that are in that ecosystem. And I feel like you did a very good job of being like, well, what makes me different than the rest of the country, the rest of the people here? And you're like, I have a tie to Brazil. How can I leverage that? And you started making content around that.
Supera.